What's up, friends? My name's Aaron Ciotti. Everybody calls me Ciotti. That was a little bit of Toka 1505 ripsqueak action with the rear-mounted Insta360 Go 2. Hope you enjoyed. Happy Father's Day to those of you that have chitlins. Happy Father's Day to my dad. I'm going to be calling him after this live stream. Maggie and I have been busy doing house things all morning. I haven't had a chance to call. Do I have stuff going? This all good? All right, cool. We got some lights. We got some action. Is this on? It's on. There it goes. What's up, chat? Apache Smokeweed the Sniper was first. Alpha Sloth, Frank Nicholas, Danzilla, The Terrible Technique, Aircon, Northern Tier, TS13, Tommy Newstead, Chicken, Dare V, Quadzimoto. What's going on, everybody? If you want to talk directly to me, all you gotta do is type CiottiFPV. That's not the right monitor. That's not the right button. Nope, we want, there you go. If you type CiottiFPV, it'll light up an orange like this. You don't have to put an @ in front of it, but you can if you'd like. What's everybody doing today? Anybody doing any interesting Father's Day stuff? Apache tagged me and said, good evening. How's life? Alpha Sauce says, hello, you beautiful gangly bastard. Danzilla the Terrible says, hello, CiottiFPV and Collective. Quadzimoto says, happy Father's Day, pal. Thank you, dude. All is right with the world. Hey, we're going to be... I just walked in the door. I got some fun stuff to show you guys. I did a fly through of the house yesterday. It took like 4 tries to get it perfectly clean, but I ended up getting it, and I threw some music on it real quick last night when I couldn't sleep, and I threw it up on my Instagram. That's not it. Okay, I don't know what's happening. There's just random windows opening and... There we go. Okay. Wait, how did I get this in here? How did I get this into Instagram? Did I transfer it to the... I think it's on iCloud. Hold on. If I can show it to you on iCloud, it'll be a little bit better quality. Let me get that figured out real quick here. And we want monitor with the zoom mic. And let's come in here to photos. Nope, don't want to leave that on. God forbid. There's something weird in there. Shouldn't be, but... it did not... Why is it not in here? Okay. Well, it was on the GoPro, and then I put it into the... Nah, it should be in here, but it's not. Nothing I can do about that. Okay. So, let me come here. I'm going to play it out of Instagram. I'm going to kill the... Oh, it's going to play it all fucking small, though. No, this is worthless. You're just going to have to head over to my Instagram to watch it. I don't know. Technology is absolutely the worst thing in the world. It's just... The workflow required to get footage is just absurd. And come on. I don't have... Yeah, I do have... Oh, but I left the... If I play that through here, you know what? It won't work on the laptop. Yeah, it's not going to work. Nothing's going to work ever. How do you do things on the phone? Yeah, no, it's in here. It's in here. It's just not going to work. Yeah, okay. So that's yeah, so it's oh, God damn it, I hate everything. Nothing's gonna work. So, you know. Betaflight GitHub. Today we're gonna be taking a look at the tuning notes for Betaflight 4.3 stable, and we're gonna talk about them a little bit. And we'll do a little bit of flying around here, and then we'll wrap it up. And I'm gonna go back and do more house things. So here's Betaflight 4.3. I know you guys can't see my screen, but I'm just getting over there. What's up, Brandon? Configurator, all right, cool. And then where are the tuning notes? There are the tuning notes. All right, cool. So this is the page that, what? Why? Okay. Just randomly goes back a page for no reason. All right, cool. So that's good to go there. This is a Q&A stream, so as you guys have questions about Betaflight, more than likely, because that's what we're going to be talking about, feel free to drop them in the chat. And, yeah, we'll go through that, have a chat, and have a crap and a pancake. And then, yeah, we're going to be comparing 4 somewhat different, pretty similar tinywhoops. The flight characteristics are very different, but the builds are fairly similar. So we're going to compare the... I haven't gotten a tinywhoop at the new house yet. We've been just busy as shit. We're going to compare what I consider to be the ultimate freestyle tinywhoop, which is basically just Modulus 6 with switched over to BT 2.0, the tinywhoop.com 0702 30,000 kV motors on the Gemfan biblades, and then a little tiny True RC singularity antenna tucked into the canopy. This is a little bit of a custom antenna, but it's easy to order. You just go onto TrueRC's website. You get the shortest. They have like an ultra short, I think they call it, UFL singularity. And then in your order notes, you say, "Hey Hugo, can you make that antenna 2 to 3 millimeters shorter?" And then that's going to be the perfect size to fit under the Mobula 6 canopy, so that your tinywhoop just looks like it's got a little ball sack hanging off the bottom. And yeah, that's the most compact little kind of setup that I've been able to find. So we're going to compare that to, well, this no longer has an antenna. The ceramic antenna broke off of this one, but this is the exact same build, but with the OG Happy Model 0802 25,000 kV motors on the Gemfan triblades. And it seems to still work okay without the ceramic antenna. I'm still up in the air about what to do about the fact that the ceramic antenna broke off. I could just try to solder a piece of wire in there, but it's never going to be quite right, which might not matter because I typically just fly these things in the house. But at the same time, it's like, you know, this was like $60-some for this AIO. I would rather it have the ceramic antenna, and there's really no reason for it to have broken off, but I don't know, we'll see. So yeah, that's what this build is, very similar build, linear whip antenna, so the video is not quite as good, but other than that, it's pretty much the same. And then we're going to compare that to the to my newbie drone build. The newbie drone build is cockroach frame, the V1 newbie drone AIO, which has the MPU 6000 gyro in it. It's got an external EP2 ELRS receiver. It's got the Caddx Ant camera, which I should really plug into to kind of adjust because it does not look very good right now. It's got the little Axie antenna on there, and then it's got the tinywhoop.com 0802 30,000 kV motors. These are the same as these 25,000 kVs, but they are one-piece bell. And yeah, that's this build. This is a heavy build, heavy fat boy build. And then I'll torture myself some more and compare it to this Mobula 7 V4 frame with all the same newbie drone stuff that I just mentioned, but regular FrSky, and then the Goober canopy. And this has the T-Motor 0803 22,000 kV motors on the Gemfan biblades. So yeah, a couple different fun little comparison points to see how they fly, see how accurate they are inside, and yeah, I mean, we've already talked about this quite a bit, but you know, everybody likes seeing flight footage so that they can figure it out for themselves. I gotta be honest though, like I don't really know if there's any value in just watching flight footage over the internet. Like if you, it's so hard to, it's hard to feel the difference between these, let alone be able to see the difference when somebody else is flying. I think you're better off just like listening to what the people that fly these things say. I think that their opinions are where you're going to get most of your value from, because they're the only one that's able to feel the way that the rigs fly, and that's pretty much all of it. But you know, some of the stuff you can kind of see, like you can definitely tell like how often I'm crashing. That's a pretty good indication of how accurate it is, or how, you know, impossible it is to fly in some cases. So yeah, there's some value to that for sure. Rob B is in the house. He says, what glue do you use to hold the UFL in securely? It's called Welders. It's also called E6000. But on Amazon it's called Welders. Welders. It's a little red and black container. Easiest way to think about Welders is it's like hot glue, but it deals with heat better. It's not like hot glue in that you can just heat it up and it gets molten. You just squeeze it out of the tube, you give it 24 hours to cure, and then it's good to go. Where it's the way that it's similar to hot glue is if you need to get it off, you just use your fingernail and you just pick it off and it'll come off cleanly. It doesn't leave any residue or any garbage. And it doesn't break up when you're trying to peel it off like liquid electric tape. So it's really good stuff. Welders, it's called. Get you some. Everybody should have it. It's really, you can just use it for all kinds of stuff. All right, so let's dive into the Betaflight 4.3.0 stable words eluded him. Notes, GitHub notes, and tuning notes, and yeah, we'll talk about like what's different, what's the same, and then we'll dive into the tuning side, and I can stumble my way through that. Let me just move a couple of these windows around here real quick. And all right, cool. So Betaflight 4.3 stable is out, and it's the best Betaflight yet, of course. Ton of contributors to this. If you scroll down to the bottom here, and this is one of the big reasons why none of the other flight firmwares are ever going to catch up. Look at this. 91 contributors. Mike, JFly, and 89 other configurators. This right here is why Betaflight will always be the best firmware. I mean, no offense to EmuFlight. EmuFlight has a huge leg up in that it's a fork from Betaflight. So, you know, EmuFlight is taking the past work from probably over 100 contributors and just changing some stuff. So EmuFlight's going to get way closer than anything else. But yeah, EmuFlight and Betaflight, and unless somebody else forks it, there's just no way anybody is ever going to be able to catch up. That's just a fact. That's not me, you know, being like emboldened to one or the other. I don't care. If one of these other flight firmwares flew better and was better, I would fly it. I don't give a shit about Betaflight. I have no dog in this fight. Like, I fly Betaflight because it's just demolishes all the rest of them. So yeah, just kind of keep that in mind. I know it's really tempting to spend a shitload of money and try these different firmwares, but it's a waste of money in the end. It's a waste of time and it's a waste of money. You know, I went through it, and by the end of it, I was pissed because I wasted a ton of time and I wasted a ton of money. So keep that in mind. I know the grass always seems greener on the other side, but it commonly is not. So a couple of like kind of housekeeping notes here first. After updating, you must use the latest configurator. This is an important one here. Number 2, F4 processors should run a 4K PID loop. F411 users should use DShot 300, not DShot 600. And it's full-blown blocked from the 8K PID loop. That's pretty cool. I like that they did that. Most 411s should be overclocked to 120 megahertz. Though some will only tolerate 108. I've never done the overclocking thing. I think if you just type into the CLI like get overclock, it'll pop up for you. I've never had to do it on the tinywhoop that we set up on Friday's stream. That is not overclocked. It is an F4 processor. I'm pretty sure it's an F411, and I've got it on DShot 300 and 4K, and it's good to go. It hasn't done any bad shit, and you can usually tell pretty quickly that it's gonna. You can certainly tell within the first battery if you're overloading the processor. So should be good to go there. 4.3 has a new slider tuning approach and presets due to parameter changes. Do not paste CLI diffs or dumps from previous versions. There it is, friends. Don't do it. Take a couple of screenshots. Take a screenshot of the ports tab. Screenshot of whatever other tabs you can't remember the stuff in, and set it up from scratch. It's always safest to do that. And once you've set Betaflight up from scratch 20 or 30 or 40 times, it's very simple to do. And it could be the difference between you getting chopped up or not getting chopped up. So do it. Brandon's Baked Beans says, just solder on a little 1 centimeter wire. Yeah, I'm really tempted to. But I don't know. J. Drone says, does it light up in orange if I type balls? Balls does not, but my name does. That's for sure. Jay. Note number 4, experienced users who want numeric data entry for tuning must disable their sliders. We know that. It's been like that for a while, so this is not news. Check all your settings carefully before arming for the first time. Check PIDs, filters, rates, motor configurations, motor rotations for the first flights. Arm in a safe place, fly gently, look out for any setup and build issues. This is it. You know, we talk about this a lot here on the channel, but this is a great like little 2-sentence reference to it. PIDs, filters, rates, motor configuration, motor rotation. That is absolutely essential. Like, that is bare minimum that you need to check those. You guys have seen me skip steps in those 5 right there and sit here and waste a half an hour or an hour because I couldn't figure out what the hell was going on, but it was because the motor configuration was wrong, right? PIDs, filters, rates, motor mapping, right? Motor configuration, motor mapping, where the motors are, and motor rotation. Absolutely essential. Never, ever, ever arm a rig until you've checked those things with your own eyeballs. And then, as I show you guys all the time for the first flights, arm in a safe place, fly gently, look out for and listen out for any setup or build issues. So we recommend RPM-based filtering for best performance. Read about enabling and configuring RPM filtering here. We talk a lot about RPM filtering. You guys probably already know that stuff, but if you need a refresher, this is a hyperlink, enabling and configuring RPM filtering. Hey, by the way, here's the link to what I'm reading if you guys want to like follow along. There you go. It's in the chat. But basically, if you just go to Google and type in Betaflight 4.3 GitHub, it'll be the very first link that comes back. Number 7, 250 hertz or 500 hertz radio link users must choose a suitable preset. 500 radio must have feed-forward smoothing set to 65 to 70 with 2-point averaging. The presets are going to do that for you, though. So just make sure that you use the presets, pick the right preset for your radio or your module, and you're going to be good to go. CPU usage, this is an important one. CPU usage is now reported as a much higher value than previously. This is okay, just to change how we display it. Don't be concerned until it gets to around 75%. So there we go. Let's actually plug in the new tinywhoop build that we put on 4.3 on Friday's stream, and let's take a look at what the CPU usage is showing, because I don't remember looking at that. And I'm curious because it's an F4 and it's on DShot 300 and 4K. So it should be under 75, but let's take a quick look. Connect to it. Oh yeah, we're well under 75. We're sitting at like 53, 52, 53, 54. If I move it around, no, it's never going over 54. So yeah, we're good to go. If you want to see the exact gyro that you've got, go into the CLI and you're going to type status. And it's going to give you a whole bunch of gibberish, but within this gibberish, it'll tell you the gyro. And in this case, it's an ICM 2689. And then there's the F4 MCU F411, and it's clocking at 108 right now. So I could technically crank this up to 120, and maybe I could go to DShot 600, maybe I could go to 8K instead of 4K, but it flies totally fine as it is, so we're actually just going to leave it. I'm happy with that. Let's push the tune a little bit more, though. We started to push the tune with the master slider the other day, and it was totally fine with the master slider moved up to 1.5. Let's keep kind of pushing things here, though, because it wasn't exhibiting like any of the warning signs of like you're approaching too much tune. I got that dynamic idle at 50. I'm gonna leave it there actually. So let's push the D-gain a little bit. I always like the way that more D-gain flies. So let's go up to 1.2. What I like to see is the D-max sliders to be around 10 points higher than the P-gain. Typically that's not going to happen on roll. You see the roll P-gain is 67, the D-max is 72, not quite there. But when you look at pitch, since the pitch numbers are slightly higher, there's more of an offset. So the pitch P gain is 70, and then the Dmax is 82. So that's looking pretty good. The damping, very first slider, the D gain slider, up at 1.2. I really dig that kind of setting. And then there's this dynamic damping. So this damping D gain slider moves both the Dmax and the Dmin. But then there's also this dynamic damping slider here that just moves the Dmax around. So we're gonna kick this up a little bit as well. We'll just move it up to we'll go up to 1.2 because it doesn't make much of a change. So at this point, we've got 10 extra points on roll. Jesus, there's 17 extra points on pitch. That's a bit much. We can bring the pitch damping down a little bit though. So this is a tinywhoop. It's very symmetrical. So we don't need quite this much pitch authority. So we're gonna actually bring both of these down to 0.9 here. And no, we're not. Jesus, that has a big effect. We're gonna leave it. We're gonna leave the pitch, P gain, I gain, feed forward. We're gonna leave that at 1. But we are gonna move this pitch damping slider down to 0.9 just to get this offset between the P and the D under control here. Although I don't love what it did here. Maybe just 9.5? Yeah, we're just gonna leave it at 0.95. Man, that's a bit. Each notch there has a huge effect. I think because we have the master multiplier turned up so high, these other sliders are gonna have a really big effect. So drift wobble, we're gonna leave that alone. The I gains seem to be fine. And then let me actually turn the feed forward back up to 1. Because I have a bunch of stick smoothing dialed in with jitter reduction. Now, you know, the other rigs don't have a lot of feed forward, but the other rigs are also not on 4.3 stable. I don't want this one rig to feel completely different. I'm gonna turn it back down to 0.5. 0.5 is pretty aggressive anyway. Again, because we have this master multiplier turned all the way up, it still brings us into the 90s. So this rig still has quite a bit more feed forward than any of the others, but that's okay. This is the one rig that's on 4.3 stable. As I move the other rigs over to 4.3 stable, I'm actually going to start running higher feed forwards. Again, because I'm using the jitter reduction as stick smoothing, and I'm also using, in the receiver tab, I'm also using the RC smoothing here with this auto factor up at 100. That's acting as stick smoothing there as well. So yeah, we didn't go nuts. We didn't go nuts on this tune, but we did move it up a little bit. Let's kick this. We can move this master multiplier up a little bit more. We'll move it up to 1.6. What is it at? Let's leave it at 1.6. That's pretty aggressive. 70s on the P gain, 60s on the D. Yeah, that's probably about right. All right, so let's save that. And what's up, Expander? Why is that lower? That's weird. I'm actually going to start running a little bit more center sensitivity. Move these up to 40. See if I can feel a difference. Probably not, but. All right. Throttle midpoint is at 40%. Expo is at 0.3. And filtering looks pretty good. So we're going to leave this thing alone. And let's get back into the tuning notes here. So so we just went through like the full section of just like general what they call important introductory notes. These are important. Read through these. There's lots of good stuff here. And there's a bunch of hyperlinks to stuff. The more you read about Betaflight, the more comfortable you're going to be changing stuff and tuning it. And it really makes a big difference. So And then we've got, for more details, get the best out of the flight performance improvements, please read the tuning notes. This is the magic right here. If you want to learn how to make your rigs fly better, just click this and start reading. Avix says, just watched the Buzz Lightyear movie. How was it? The previews look pretty cool. Although I did also kind of have a inkling of like, ooh, that could kind of suck. All right, so here's the introductory notes again, but then the bottom of this page is a little bit different. Betaflight 4.3 features. These are the big ones here that they're hitting on. There's lots of other stuff going on. Before I show you this, there's lots of other stuff that's going on in 4.3. So this is the master, and again, this is just back to the main release page. If you want to see everything that's changed, and this shit's fascinating, man. Like if you have time, this is awesome. Just like scroll through these, and you'll see some that like make some semblance of sense to you, and then you can click on the hyperlink here, and you can read a little bit about it. Sometimes there'll be a bunch of notes here, people talking about it. This is a really cool little exercise to just kind of work through here and just read a bunch of these. And you'll find ones that you're like, ooh, update to BMI gyros using like, and then you can click it and figure out, oh look, Chris Rosser, hey, that's pretty cool. So yeah, this is like the master list of everything that's changed. And then down here is where you can get the specific hexes for each. If you want to use the older configurator, you can just go down here and grab these specific hexes, but don't do that. Get the new configurator. Up at the top here, important, make sure you install the latest blah, 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 and there it is. So just hit that link and you can get the new configurator, and that's got 4.3 stable in it. So yeah, this is your list of everything, and then here in the tuning notes, it's just specifically diving into tuning. And the more important features are up top here. So let's dig into a couple of these. Hopefully they'll spawn some questions from you guys and we can kind of talk about it. It was actually pretty good. I would say an 8 out of 10. That's pretty damn good. Finley, make sure you type CiottiFPV. I almost missed your comment. Finley types at Ciotti, have you got a Betaflight F4 1S 5 amp AIO and had issues with Betaflight 4.3 giving you a yaw issue? No, the first rig, I just, Christ, what was it? Was it last week, Whoop Wednesday? I think it was this last Whoop Wednesday. I did a Betaflight 4.3 setup on a Meteor 65 Pro, and everything was fine with Betaflight. The camera and VTX were absolutely horrendous. So it was kind of impossible to fly it, and I ended up actually just letting it's getting shipped out. But yeah, the Betaflight was totally fine. So yeah, no issues on my side with that. All right, so let's dig in here. 4.3 is a significant evolutionary step thanks to a slew of diligently coded and carefully tested updates representing thousands of hours of work from the voluntary development and test team. Credits at the end of the page. New PID-based tuning sliders. So the tuning sliders have been changing through the different release candidates. So most of us have seen the new sliders, but this is just a good kind of overview here. Active by default, slider positions are stored with the quad, can be modified via the OSD or the Lua. New expert sliders allow fine-tuning of pitch, roll, balance, Dmax, Dmin, and I relative to P. So again, we've been doing this for a while now. There's probably no questions on this, but yes, from 4.2 to 4.3, the sliders have changed drastically. But if you've used any of the release candidates, you'll have seen that already. Presets, this is a really big deal. This is a fairly new thing to the last couple of release candidates. A fantastic comprehensive new preset system, whether a Whoop Twig 5-inch racer freestyle setup or an X-Class, you can now easily get a great tune for your quad out of the box. I gotta be honest, the presets are pretty goddamn good. The presets are gonna work on like 99% of rigs, and the defaults are way more aggressive. So I've always recommended this, but I'm gonna recommend it even more now. Is to just leave shit alone, leave the PIDs alone initially. Put a battery up in the air with the completely stock PIDs, and if that flies good, just go fly. Because the default PIDs are not going to be razor's edge. They're going to be nice and safe, and you can go beat the hell out of your rig, bang up your motors, bang up your props, bang up your arms, and you're going to be good to go. What's up, Michael Blade? So yeah, don't even like just dive into the presets. Like, yes, there's going to be PID presets in there, but my God, the defaults are really good. I don't really agree with the PID presets. It's a good way to blow up an ESC or a motor, or have your rig just go fly away and never come home. So yeah, careful with the presets. I love the idea of the presets for RC link, maybe even filtering, although I don't know about that. I love the presets for rates as well. If you want to try somebody else's rates, that's cool. But for PID tuning and filters, I'm not sold on the whole preset thing. So your mileage may vary there. Less gyro filtering with higher P&D provides better out of the box performance. This is why 4.3 tunes very different than 4.2, 4.1, etc. This is why I was having a problem getting a couple of rigs tuned a month or two ago on, at some point, I want to say like between release candidate 3 and 4, or maybe it was between 4 and 5, this happened. And it made a big difference. And this is why the new defaults fly so good, because there's more P gain, there's more D gain, and there's less gyro filtering. And that's all happening behind the scenes. That's, like the same numbers that you used to put into 4.2 are going to be more aggressive on the P and D gain side now in 4.3. So yeah, put 4.3 on your rigs, leave the PIDs completely alone for a minute, put it up in the air and see how it is. If it flies good, resist the urge to just crank the numbers up because you think you need to crank the numbers up. The flight performance speaks for itself. If it flies good, trust yourself and just go fly the damn thing. We've changed how D is configured. We now have derivative and Dmax settings. Derivative value is what sets the D value in smooth flying. So they just changed the names. Derivative used to be called DMin. Dmax has been called Dmax. DMin and Dmax are one of the many reasons that Betaflight just destroys everyone else. Having a D gain that can move around and be less when it's not needed and more when it's needed is a really big deal. This is how you deal with propwash, but not have a rig that's on the bitter edge of what's possible in terms of your tune and or motors just getting hot and stuff like that. So for me, in my opinion, DMin and Dmax was a big deal, and it's one of the main reasons that my rigs fly so good. More accurate loop times. We've made a massive scheduler and DMA code improvements, including blah, 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 blah. Smoother flight performance, faster logging, improved CPU efficiency. Note the CPU load reported in 4.3 is higher than reported in 4.2 due to a change in the way it's calculated. Now reports the percentage of time that the processor is busy running tasks rather than a figure based on load average. Pretty cool. Multi-dynamic notch. We've completely rewritten, much improved multi-dynamic notches. More than one resonant peak can be tracked at the same time, more accurately, more quickly than before. Low latency costs. This allows for lower overall low-pass filtering and better performance. This is why the dynamic filtering is now, without RPM filtering, it defaults at 5. With RPM filtering, it drops down to 1. The new dynamic notch works really well. I've seen a couple of folks that are actually foregoing on certain rigs. You can forego the RPM filters and just go with like 3 or 4 or 5 dynamic notches. I really like the RPM filters. I like the idea behind them, and I like the safety that they provide in case you bend a propeller, for example. So I stick with the RPM filters on everything, but if you're chasing the Dragon and you want to try to minimize your latency, you know, a fraction of a millisecond at a time, the new dynamic notch is the best that there really is. So it's going to work really, really well for you. The above 2 changes have significantly improved incoming gyro noise. This has allowed us to push the default gyro filtering higher than before. Coupled with higher D, this improves prop wash. Many quads can now fly with the gyro filter slider hard right, which is what I did on the tinywhoop tune. I took that gyro slider, I moved it all the way, oh, for you guys it would be this way, all the way up to 2.0, and it works really, really well. PT3. We've seen PT1, PT2. This is PT3, base RC smoothing. So now the RC smoothing has its own specific third order of smoothing, which is pretty slick. Just basically more time has been spent on the RC smoothing to make it even better, is how I kind of read this. Auto smoothing value provides anything from low latency to exceptionally buttery cinematic smoothness. So there you go. That's why I was just showing you guys the in the receiver tab, that auto smoothing. Michael D says, what are your thoughts on Quicksilver? Patrick J. Clark seems to really like it. I don't fly angle mode, so I don't have any use for Quicksilver. Angle mode, in my opinion, is for racing only. And if I'm going to race, I'm going to do it in a car, not with the tinywhoop or any kind of a quad, to be honest. RPM crossfading. We can now smoothly disable overlapping RPM filter notches entirely at low RPM. I don't really know anything about this, but it sounds like a really good improvement. This greatly reduces filter delay at low throttle. You hear an immediate difference in the sound of the motors and experience less prop wash at low throttle. I did a little bit of reading on this. Like with any of these are all hyperlinks here, so you can click through and you can read more about it. From what I can tell here, where is it? There it is, RPM crossfading. From what I can tell, it looks like this is turned on by default, so you don't have to do anything. And it's just basically making the RPM filters work better and have a little bit less delay at zero throttle or low throttle. So yeah, this is just something that's going on behind the scenes. If you want to try to tune this to get even better performance out of it, it tells you how to in that link. It's got a couple of CLI commands, and it basically says, like, you know, here's the, so this is the stock value here, and then if you have a really clean rig, they say you can try this here. So you can just copy and paste this in. The default minimum RPM value, RPM starts to switch, is 80, works well with most quads. Machines with very clean props and very little intrinsic RPM noise can have this value shifted higher, and there you go. Very large quads, this is kind of interesting. Very large quads with low RPM, we should choose proportionally lower values since they operate at lower RPM. So if you've got a big ass rig, you might want to actually take these default values and turn them down a little bit. But I bet you that these default values will work pretty damn good because they're quite a bit lower than these kind of cranked up values. It doesn't look like a big difference, right? 80 hertz to 100 hertz, but that is a big difference because under 100 hertz is where the natural vibrations are kind of going on. Michael D says that makes sense. His posts have been stating angle and racing in regards to EMO and Quicksilver. Yeah, EMO seems also to be good for angle stuff, but yeah, I don't do any angle mode anymore. I haven't for a long time. PT2 and PT3 low pass filtering options. The old bi-quad low pass filter option is no longer available on gyro. due to delay, overshoot, and resonance issues. Basically, what this is saying is that the old biquad low-pass filter is way too slow. Previous gyro biquad low-pass filters should change to PT2. This is also another example of why you don't want to do a diff or a dump. You want to do your 4.3 stable setup from scratch. Take your screenshots so you don't forget stuff. Even if you do forget stuff, the defaults are great. You're going to be fine, I promise. More likely we'll find that in 4.3, single or dual first order filtering is optimal for gyro. Biquad filtering is still available for D-gain, where a harder cut than PT2 can be useful. This might be useful for dealing with really banged up quads or really shitty frames. Like if you've got an Armatan frame, you might need to go down this route because they just have such a hard time from the carbon fiber weave being in the ass wrong direction. But I doubt it. I bet you that I would actually be pretty interested. I would be pretty interested in seeing whether or not and this is, I'm only talking about frames that were designed by Armatan. Armatan does a great job cutting their carbon, but the frames that they design, the guy that runs Armatan, Chris, he just refuses to believe that the directionality of the carbon fiber affects anything, and he's just totally fucking wrong. He's I don't understand. I don't get why he doesn't, because it's just him. He's the only one that believes that. It's really insane, but whatever. I would be interested to see how one of his frames fares with this new version of Betaflight, because it is quite a bit more aggressive, and it might just not work. Like, you might need to add filtering and remove P and D gains just to get an Armatan frame to work. That would be kind of interesting to see. But you shouldn't be on an Armatan frame anymore anyway. There are pretty much all of the current frames are miles ahead, and they're a ton cheaper, and the whole lifetime warranty thing is total bullshit. If you try to get your warranty, if you try to cash in on your lifetime warranty, you're going to get replies like, oh, you can just glue that frame back together and it'll be totally fine. Like, it's just awful. Man, Armatan pisses me off. They're just not, it's just no good. Get away. Run. Feed forward jitter reduction, 4.3 introduces it, which is an improvement on feed forward transition. It delivers a dynamic transition effect of the feed forward. So we're no longer using the D-term transition. It has been changed to jitter reduction. Here's the thing though. Your jitter reduction is going to get dumped in when you use the presets for your RC link. I turned my jitter reduction up another couple of notches, but you really don't have to. You can just use the preset for whatever your RC link is. It's going to ask you that question of, are you racing? Are you freestyling? Are you cinematic? Are you ultra cinematic? Answer that question, and that's going to give you the appropriate feed forward jitter reduction. So you don't really have to worry about this. Just make sure that you use your presets for your RC link, and it's going to automatically drop this jitter reduction in for you. Although I will say this, make sure that you don't, so one thing that you might notice if you've been using the transition, I'm going to show you this real quick here. If you've been using the transition, it is kind of important for you to know this, because like the first time that I realized this, I went in and I manually turned the transition on, and you don't want that. The jitter reduction is doing the same thing as the transition. So what's going to happen is when you go to presets and you pick your RC link and you put it in, it's going to zero out your transition, and that's where you want it to say, and it tells you in the tooltips. Right in the middle here. In 4.3, transition is not recommended as it has been replaced by the jitter reduction function. So yeah, leave your feed forward transition zeroed out. That's going to turn it off. And this jitter reduction is how you're going to control a part of your stick smoothing. The higher the jitter reduction, the more the stick smoothing. But the other place that you're going to get stick smoothing is here in the receiver tab, which we were talking about a minute ago. down here under the RC smoothing. And again, that RC link is going to give you, so the RC link is actually going to have these set to manual like this. And there is going to be a cutoff frequency in here. Everything that I've seen has recommended taking this RC smoothing off of manual and putting it onto auto. And then you've just got this one value to deal with. 100 seems like it's a decent amount of stick smoothing. When I do the cinematic preset, it actually puts this to like 250, which seems like an awful lot. So I've been moving it down to 100, mainly because of what it says in this tooltip. This tooltip says that values over 50 will cause appreciable stick delay. So like 250 seems like it's absolutely bananas. I've been pretty happy with it at 100. It does not feel like it's, my footage does not look super jittery. So I'm digging this at 100, but you know, try it out. The RC smoothing can really make your flight footage look amazing as you increase this value, but there's no free lunch. The more stick smoothing, the more delay. So it's something that you might need to get a little bit used to, but you know, I've flown a good amount of stick smoothing and a good amount of delay for a long time, and I don't really notice it at all. It's really, you know, we're talking about a couple of milliseconds, and the improvement that it gives you in smoothness if your thumbs aren't made of gold, which mine certainly are not, yeah, you're going to be good to go. Aircon says he turns it completely off. I would personally hate the way that kind of looks, but if you're racing, you know, you're going to be chasing every fraction of a millisecond. So that might work for you. But if you're flying freestyle and you expect someone else to watch your footage, I would definitely not recommend that. Just, you know, to be kind to them and their eyeballs. We don't want their eyeballs to be bleeding from too much and jittering and bouncing back and forth and shit like that. Other feed-forward improvements, we have a second order smoothing on boost, soft interpolation, blah, 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 blah. I don't know what any of this means. Anti-gravity improvements, this has been in all of the release candidates. So if you've put any of the 4.3 release candidates on your rig and you've wondered why when you chop the throttle, there's almost no wobble whatsoever, it's right here. Previously, anti-gravity only used eye gain. It boosted your eye gain every time you quickly throttled up or throttled down. What they realized is that eye gain is a little bit too slow to actually help with in this setting. It definitely helps, but it doesn't help quite enough. So they've brought P gain into the mix. So when you move the throttle up or down really fast, it's going to boost P gain by whatever the value is that you have in your anti-gravity. Default value is 3.5. I usually move it up to a value of 5. It's pretty easy to tell if you've got too much anti-gravity set. Basically what will happen is when you quickly increase the throttle or quickly decrease the throttle, the rig will have like a secondary little ramp up. So if you shoot the throttle up and down and rip, right, it should, what you want to hear is just rip, and that's it. But if you have your anti-gravity too high, what you're going to hear is rip, rip, and it's going to, again, this is your throttle, right? It's going to be rip, rip, wait, rip, rip, yeah, there it is. So the rig is going to go rip, wait, no, the rig is going to go rip, rip, and it's that secondary little, what you're going to hear the motor spool up a second time. That's anti-gravity, and that's too much anti-gravity. You want to move, if you're getting that, you want to move your anti-gravity value down until you just have rip, and then I have quads here, rip, not rip, rip. You don't want it to rip, rip when you're off the throttle, right? I've had really good luck with a value of 5. That's never seemed to be too much. I think I was all the way up at like 10 when it was too much. But it's pretty, you'll if you have that going on, if you want to check it out, take the fucking anti-gravity, ramp it up to 10, and just start blipping the throttle. You'll see it. You'll hear it, rather. All right, back we go. What do I want? Monitor, zoom. Yeah, there we go. Dynamic gyro filter. Now we're starting to really kind of get in the weeds. Dynamic gyro filter expo curve. I don't know what any of that means. Improved dynamic idle. This is pretty slick, and it is definitely different than it was. You know, we've been doing that manual dynamic idle trick where we ramp the motors up and then we look at the RPM and then we do some maths. They've really simplified it here, and this is the showstopper to read here. So over in the PID tuning tab where it has dynamic idle, everything is multiplied by 100. So when they say that typically 3,000 to 4,000 RPM works great, what that means is a value of 30 to a value of 40. The bigger the rig gets, typically the lower you can set this digital idle, dynamic idle. The smaller the rig gets, the higher you need to set this. So we saw a minute ago on this tinywhoop, I've got this value set at 50, which is the same thing as 5,000, just because these little motors have a little bit harder of a time of kind of spinning up. So yeah, that's this is pretty slick. I wish that they had more info on the proposed values, but I don't know. It certainly seems like it's just kind of working better now. So just picking a 3,000 to 4,000, 30 to 40 value in the PID tab is going to work really well. If you want to maximize hang time, you're going to just gradually move that number down. Start with a value of 30. If you don't get desyncs, drop it down to 25. If you don't get desyncs, drop it down to 20. I would not recommend going below 20 because what's going to happen is the lower you go on your dynamic idle, the lower the zero throttle RPM is on your motors. So the less power and the less quickness they're going to have. So what you're going to see is, like, if you're zero throttle, your rig at some point, when you keep lowering this more, at some point it's going to start wobbling around a little bit. Or when you chop the throttle, your bobbles are going to get worse. So the higher you set, alternatively, the higher you set your dynamic idle, you're going to have a little bit less inverted hang time. You're going to have more hang time when you're right side up, though, or when you're just like sideways. It's not really going to affect it. But it's going to help with the throttle chop bobbles because the motors aren't going to come down as low. So, yeah. The new dynamic idle is much easier to dial in because you're just going to pick a number between 30 and 40, and away you go. Linear and dynamic mixer options, I don't know what that shit means. Feed forward in level and horizon modes, that's pretty interesting. If you fly in angle or horizon modes, you're going to have feed forward. That's actually really nice. That's really, really, really nice. So, yeah, play around with that if you use level or horizon modes. I don't. Actual rates are the new Betaflight default. Thank fucking God. Actual rates are so much better than the old rates. Yeah, if you haven't been using actual rates. Oh, here you go. Ooh, I didn't see this. This is cool. Do they have a little calculator? Oh, they do. Oh, God, is it confusing, though. I've seen this before. Yeah, I think eventually I figured out how to use this, but I don't really know. Betaflight RC rate. What did my RC rate used to be? I think my RC rate used to be 0.6. And then S rate is super rate. I think my super rate used to be 83. And then I used to run 0 expo. And then, so I thought that it would just automatically calculate, but it doesn't. So it shows you your Betaflight rates here. I don't know if it's red or blue. But then see, we've got like actual rates, center rate here. So then you start playing around with your, okay, so it's red. So the actual rates are in red. Ignore the dotted line. I don't know what the hell the dotted line is. But so for an example, I usually run my center at 20. So you can see down here, this is where the big difference is between the Betaflight rates and the actual rates. The red is actual rates, the blue is the Betaflight rates. See down here in the middle of the throttle, look how much softer the actual rates are. This is really the magic of actual rates. Right here is the very center of your stick travel, and the actual rates are super, super, super soft. So as you cross over the center point with actual rates, it's butter smooth. Let me put the rest of my actual rates in here. So I run 700. So if let me take a step back. If you're absolutely in love with your Betaflight rates, which are the blue line, you're not going to do this. You're going to move these around until the red line matches up with the blue line. So the center is just down here, and then the expo is in the middle, as you can see. So you're going to move the expo around until it matches like that, and then you're going to take your, well, the max rate already matches. See, so the max rate is just the very end. So you need to sync up the end of this like that. There are situations where you can't get an exact match. Like the Betaflight rates are very weird. The RC rate affects the entire curve. The expo affects the middle. Super rate affects the end. I don't think we would be able to get this perfect with our Betaflight rates, because like if we increase expo, so we've got this big gap here on the right side and the very end of the throttle stick throw, where you pretty much spend no time. So if we keep screwing around with it's max rate, shit, no, we got to leave max rate alone. We want expo. So if we keep screwing around with expo, right, like we might be able to fix the end of the stick travel there, but then the middle of the stick travel suffers. So then we pull the, so like if I wanted to absolutely perfectly match my Betaflight rates, this is about as good as I could get it. Center of 100 on actual, max rate of 710, expo of 0.78. And then I would just have to deal with the fact there's a little bit of a difference. To be honest, what I think you would want to do, like what a better setup would be to focus on the middle. If you point a camera at your hands when you're flying, what you're going to see is that you use the center of the stick travel in here and the middle of the stick travel for 99% of your battery. And then every once in a while, you move your sticks out here towards the end. So in my opinion, it makes a lot more sense to have a rate curve that looks more like this, that's softer, because what's going to happen here with the red actual rates is you're going to start using more of your throttle of your stick throw. You pretty much never use like 90% of your stick throw, because the rig is rotating so fast by that point that the footage just looks horrible. Like it's a great way to make people dizzy and turn your shit off, but that's about it. So in my opinion, you want to maximize the amount of the stick throw that you use, and one of the best ways to do that is to run a good amount of expo to really flatten out the middle. Basically, in my opinion, your best bet for really dialing in your rates does involve pointing a camera at your sticks. And you want to make sure that you're moving those sticks around a bunch. You do not want to be in a situation where you spend 90% of your battery doing this, and then every once in a while you jam out to the outside, right? Because for 99% of your battery, if you're doing all your movements here, you've got shit resolution. Like you're going to be all over the goddamn place. You want to be like moving the sticks. You want to be using the stick travel. You know what I mean? Like whatever you have to do. And maybe you love spinning the entire battery at 400 degrees a second the whole time. If that's your deal and you don't like people to watch your footage, that go forth and that's all you. But yeah, that typically is like kind of eye bleeding stuff. That it's fun to fly it like that, right? Like it's fun for us, but it's not fun for anyone else. What I want to see, and this is when I spend time with a student in the sim, one of the things that I'm looking for, because I can see their stick overlay, one of the things I'm looking for is for them to be moving like around, like really using the stick travel. sometimes what I'll see is like, so like Steele's rates, for example, right? Like if you watch Steele fly, like he does everything in here. It's all going on in here. And like, that's great that he's flown enough to have the sensitivity to do anything in here. But in my opinion, it's just a waste. You're not using the rest of the stick travel. And that's just silly, man. You want to be using as much of your stick travel as you possibly can, because that's going to help. It's not going to help, but it's just going to give you much better sensitivity. It's going to make it easier to fly. It's going to make your footage look better. And yeah, so do that, in my opinion. But again, your rates are a fiercely personal kind of thing. So if you try that for 100 batteries and you just absolutely don't like it, go back, whatever works for your brain and your fingers is what you want to do. Mr. Huggy says, how does this rig go? With a link. How does this rig go? Let me see if I can get that link to work. Nope. This is gonna cripple the computer. Why did I do this? Oh God, no. Yeah, I can't do it. I can't do it, brother. Sorry. Just ask a question. I can't. It's gonna just grenade. It already did grenade. Fuck. All right. Hopefully the computer will come back eventually here. Yeah, I can't. Fuck, come on, man. God damn it. There it goes. All right. So yeah, if you're switching to actual rates, this is a cool tool. Hopefully I showed you enough how to use it, that you can kind of figure it out, because it is a little bit confusing, but it does work. All right. Crossfire V3 and Ghost link improvements, and also in addition to this, oh, here it is, ELRS support. Yeah, 4.2 didn't have very good, or maybe any, I forget, ELRS support. But it looks like, yeah, Crossfire and Ghost are getting some improvements as well as support for the latest Crossfire, ELRS, Ghost protocols. Internal Betaflight RC code now supports 12-bit higher RC data, blah, 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 blah. I don't get super into that stuff. So ELRS over SPI support, awesome. FrSky OSD fix, I didn't know there was a problem. I'm curious, what's the deal with this? Lua script updates, I don't really use Lua script. Changed CLI command names. There's been a bunch of CLI stuff that's been changed. So yeah, don't copy and paste any diffs or dumps. You're not gonna have a good day. All right, so clicking that hyperlink is not working for some reason, but it should just be called out down here. Ooh. Oh, they're out of order though. Oh, balls. What is all this? DMA bitbang stuff. Interesting. What was that last one that I wanted to look at? FrSky OSD fix. What? Show me. I want to see it. Give me. Let me look. I want to look. OSD. Let's just search for OSD. All right, so there it is. Are you gonna find it anywhere else? Ooh, is that it? Nope, that ain't it. New tuning sliders. Maybe they just didn't write it out. OSD. Yeah, no, they just didn't call it out. It's okay. So there we go. Those are the tuning notes. Each one of those tuning notes is broken down down below here. Basically, when you click, if you read through the more accurate loop times and you want to know more, just click the hyperlink and there you go. You can read a little bit more about each one of them. These things are great, man. Like these are really, really, really interesting. This is really cool stuff in here. I really do recommend that you guys. This is how I've learned how to tune. I've learned top to bottom how to tune from just doing it myself, and then more recently reading through the Betaflight tuning notes. Ever since like 4.1, I think, they've been spending a lot of time to write these tuning notes, and they're incredibly, like, just, I don't know, I find them to be fucking fascinating. So yeah, check it out and you're gonna like it. In 4.2, so a lot of the what I will say is these tuning notes here, they're not nearly as in depth as in the 4.2 tuning notes. So like if you come in here and like, so here's GitHub, right? Off on the right here, release notes. Here's 4.3 where we were just looking at, but there's also 4.2. If you click on 4.2 and read through the 4.2 tuning notes, it's really, really, really good. They dive a little bit more into like specifically like if you're getting prop wash, increase this setting. These are just really, really good. The 4.2 tuning notes, even I'm going to look in a second. I think there's some, see, look at this. Settings to minimize bounce back. Bang. This whole section talking about like low authority quads, such as low power whoops, ducted HD quads. This is great, man. This is like amazing. It's going to give you all kinds of different options. I'll be honest, it can be a little bit daunting. Like they're going to give you a lot of different options in here, but it's really, really, really good info. What else? D-shot settings, improve feed forward. Again, this is all 4.2 stuff. RC smoothing, dynamic defiltering, dynamic battery sag compensation. We still have this. This is still available for us. Yeah, and there's stuff from 4.2 that's still in, and this kind of digs into it, right? Like the 4.3 notes are calling out all of the new stuff. You know, anti-gravity gained independent of eye gain values. Like this is all stuff that's still totally valid. Some of it has been changed, but most of it is still in there. So yeah. Stuff like this, iTerm relax works properly in set point mode. You don't really have to think about that. Like this was a problem back pre 4.2 that they fixed, so that this little section has a lot less value nowadays, but yeah, you can just work your way through it and find the stuff that's good and ignore the stuff that's not. Let me see 4.1 if there's... look, here's the little tuning notes section. There we go. So here's the top of the page. Here's release notes where I just clicked. But look, we've got tuning notes all the way back to 3.4. I didn't realize that. That's really cool. So yeah, these tuning notes, these are written by the devs, man. So like this is straight from the horse's ass. Is that it? No, horse's mouth. Happy Father's Day again, everyone. New filter settings, changes to dynamic notch filter. Don't read this. They've changed the dynamic filters since then. Feed forward interpolation. It's interesting, but not super important. Feed forward boost. It's good to know about, I guess. Feed forward limiting, optimized PID and TPA. There's some good info in here. Just be careful when you're reading through these older tuning notes. Just be aware that some of this stuff has been changed. Freestyle pilot. What do I put? Yeah, don't paste any of this stuff. Here's a good little section. Freestyle quad has slow single bounce back after a flip. That's really good. Don't copy and paste any of this stuff. No. Took off when I armed. Don't copy and paste this. Just read this for a description. Don't copy and paste any of this stuff. Large props. Nope. This is interesting. This is a cool little section. Again, don't copy and paste. The names have changed. This is probably a really good section. Tuning 4.0 for prop wash minimization. The short answer is fly smoother lines, keep throttle on during turns. Here you go. Here's stuff that you can do even without tuning. This is a great section here. This is a really good one. Ooh, this is a big... Ooh, yeah, buddy. You want to learn about prop wash and what's happening, this is it. This is a really good section. Just, again, don't copy and paste any of this stuff. Oh, this is great. Be aware that the root cause of prop wash is flight style. Of the technical causes, the biggest factor is by far the delay arising from the motor prop thrust generation delay. Drill this into your heads, friends. Of the technical causes, the biggest factor by far with prop wash is the delay from the motor prop thrust generation delay. That means the weight of your propellers, the weight of your motor bell, and the amount of power that your motor can generate. Oh, holy shit. Only 10% of the problem is filter delay related. So if you're spending any time trying to get prop wash out by getting a fraction of a second less latency in your filters, that is a total waste of time, because only 10-ish%, they probably can't perfectly quantify that, but you're only going to get a 10% improvement, versus if you focus on your motor prop combo, you can get upwards of a 90% improvement. That's a really big deal. Chasing prop wash with filtering, in my opinion, is a bad idea. Unless for some reason you've got a shitload of filtering added in. Even if you do, though, it's still going to pale in comparison with the decrease in response time to going with a lighter weight propeller, a more powerful motor, a better spec'd out motor and propeller combo. Hell, even the voltage of the battery, this is one of the things that makes 6S better on 5-inch freestyle rigs, is there's less of a delay. 6S delivers voltage in a way that it just literally creates less delay. So, yeah, there you guys go. From the horses themselves, back a long time ago, what is this? September of 2019 is when they put that. Let's see some of these other tuning notes. Let's go all the way back. Betaflight 3.4 tuning notes. Let's see what fucking gold is in here. 4.3 or 4.3 F3 dual filters. Oh boy. Are the defaults okay on PIDs? Quad doesn't feel as responsive. Dynamic on all the time. Air mode settings. None of this is really all that useful. Although this is pretty cool. This is probably a nice little talk about what the hell iTerm Relax is. My God, we've had iTerm Relax since 3.4. Holy fuck. Oh my God. Betaflight has been demolishing KISS for a longer time than I thought. Jesus. And throttle boost too. Wow. Wow. Oh wow, and feed forward. My God. When was this, yo? Jesus, May 6th, 2019. That's back when they were putting a new version of Betaflight out like every couple of months. So there you guys go. There's a layman's look at some of the improvements in 4.3 and just, you know, sort of tuning in general. Hopefully you guys got something out of that. Ramdango says, Phoenix FPV asks, Ciotti. Phoenix FPV says, can I ask a question about my Tinyhawk 2 having hot motors here? Yeah, for sure you can, man. Just make sure you tag me at CiottiFPV or just type CiottiFPV, although I can see your question here. But I'm going to stay in order, and I'm going to read Steady Eddie's comment next. He says, if I'm on a release candidate at Betaflight 4.3 and I'm using to the, I guess, changing to the final release, should I dump or preset backup file be okay to put into the final release? No. No more dumps, no more diffs, no more dumps, no more diffs. If you change versions at all, don't trust it. It's not worth it. Like, so here's what's going to happen, right? Even between release candidate 5 to 6, they're going to have changed the name somewhere. You're going to put a diff in. There's going to be a value that either jacks up Betaflight because it doesn't know what the hell to do with it, and sometimes it doesn't catch it as an error. So now you're going to be hunting an invisible thing that's buried in the CLI that's going to make it fly weird, and you're going to spend hours and hours and hours trying to figure that out. Or it is going to catch the error, it's not going to let that in, but then whatever the hell that was trying to change is going to be defaulted. And so now you've got this one defaulted thing, God knows where, And it's going to be the same kind of thing. You're going to be chasing your tail trying to figure out why the hell it doesn't fly right. Well, it's because they changed the name of the yaw actual rate center stick sensitivity, and all of a sudden your center stick sensitivity is at the default rating and your pitch and roll are not, and you're like, what the fuck, why does this fly so weird? Or it's some random filter, right? They went to like a PT3 filter, but your diff that you dropped in is calling out PT1, and it pulls an error, and now you've got a default filter in there with all your other jacked up filters. So yeah, just don't do it. Take screenshots of your port screen and any other screens that you don't know offhand. Do a fresh install. It'll take you 3 extra minutes, and it's just going to be way, way safer. And it's going to potentially save you a shit. Like, see, that's the thing, right? If you do a diff or a dump, and there's one thing that gets jacked up, it's over. Any time that you would have saved from that is gone. Times 20 probably, because it's going to not take you 3 minutes to figure it out. It's going to take you 3 fucking hours to figure it out, and you're going to smash your desk and beat your children from frustration during the, so it's all bad. Diffs and dumps only if you're going from the exact same version to the exact same version. Although even in those cases, sometimes don't even do it, because it's good to go through Betaflight. And once you've set Betaflight up top to bottom 30 or 40 or 50 times, you can do it in like 5 minutes, if not less. So the fact, just do it so that you get quick at it, because it's nice to be quick at it. When you get done with it, there's nothing more annoying than like, all right, I just spent 6 hours on this build. Now I got to spend another fucking hour setting up Betaflight, right? Like, once you're quick at it, it's like, awesome, I'm done with this build, 5 more minutes. Brrr, all set up, let's go fly. It's well worth getting some repetition in. And also, as you're setting it up, roll over the tooltips, read a couple tooltips. If you set Betaflight up 50 times and every time you do it, you roll over a tooltip or two and read them, you're going to learn Betaflight, and you're going to get more comfortable with it, and you're going to be able to tune your rig easier, better, quicker, and then your shit's going to fly better. And you're, if it's acting weird and you're out in the field, you're going to be like, oh shit, I know what that is. OSD, get in there, tweak a setting, and I'm back going. You don't have to think about like, oh fuck, put this rig away. I'll fix it when I get home, right? So yeah. GQFPV says, I've never done a diff dump, so they're 2 separate things, GQ. There's a diff and there's a dump. Dump is everything. It takes everything in your CLI, every single setting top to bottom, and it gives you all of it. With a dump, you can't copy and paste it in. It doesn't put the word set in front of everything. So a dump is really useful for like, if you hire Brandon's Baked Beans to help you tune, or me to help you tune, and I just want to see everything in your quad, that's what a dump is for. A diff will give you everything that you've changed from the defaults. So if you need to reinstall Betaflight on a rig, and you're not changing versions, so if you've got a rig that's on 4.3 stable, and for some reason you just want to reinstall to another version of 3.4, to the same version of 4.3 stable, you can go into the CLI, you can type diff, it's going to spit out a whole bunch of shit. You can copy that, put it into a document, you can reinstall Betaflight 4.3 stable, the exact same version, and then you can grab that out of your document, paste it into the CLI, hit save, and that'll put all the settings. Here's the problem with doing that. If you're reinstalling Betaflight, you're probably reinstalling it because something has gone wrong. Typically what has gone wrong is going to be in the diff. So there's not a whole lot of point of reinstalling Betaflight if you're then just going to take the diff and dump it back in there, right? Typically you're reinstalling for a reason. Sometimes maybe not, but yeah, usually, Ribby Tim, good call. That is when you want to do a diff. Diff is for building identical rigs. Great call, Daniel. I forgot about that. Yeah, if you build one rig and you love the way it flies, and then you build a second identical rig. And I'm talking, when I say identical, I mean identical. Same frame, same motors, same props, same electronics, same battery strap setup, same HD cam setup, same top to bottom. That's a perfect time to grab your diff. That being said, it's still problematic because the rig that you've already got that you're pulling that diff off of is worked in. The arms are a little bit loosened up. You know, the carbon is starting to kind of wiggle a little bit maybe, or rotate because it's starting to delaminate. So technically speaking, you could still have a problem. The perfect scenario is I'm building 2 identical rigs right now. Fresh stuff, fresh everything. There's still kind of a problem there because if the gyro is fucked on one of those rigs, it's going to be kind of jacked up. But yeah, it's still kind of valuable. Huckleberry says, this guy, shake my head. What did I say wrong that you're upset about, Huckleberry? And educate us. All right, what else do we have here in the chat? Great question, Steady Eddie. Thank you for asking that question. Phoenix FPV says, new to this hobby, got myself a Tinyhawk 2. I'm using the configuration it comes with, but it still gets hot motors, both using 1S and 2S. So if it's on the stock configuration that EMax shipped it, and you're getting hot motors, don't try to fix it with the software. The software that they ship the rig with works. They would not ship a rig that got hot motors. So the problem is obviously mechanical at that point. So fix the mechanical problem. Typically when you've got hot motors, the motors are fucked. Basically the shaft that runs up the center of the motor, it will bend a little bit, and that'll cause lots of vibrations. To try to fix that in the software is putting a Band-Aid on a head wound. It's just not smart. What you're going to do is you're going to cripple the way that the rig flies, and then eventually when you break the motors all the way, it's never going to fly right again because you've just crippled it in the software. So yeah, the solution is to fix the rig itself. With a Tinyhawk, it's small enough where you can hook it up to Betaflight, hook up a battery to it, go into the motors tab. There's a switch in there that says the props are off. I know what I'm doing. Tinyhawk is so small. I mean, you should take the props off to do this, but with a tinywhoop, you can actually leave the props on. And what you're going to do is you're going to spin each motor up individually. It lets you spin up motor 1, motor 2, motor 3, motor 4. And what you're going to feel is that 1 or 2 or 3 of those motors are going to vibrate harder than the others. Maybe all 4. You might need to replace all 4 motors. This is what happens when the rig crashes. Typically, you'll find 1 or 2 motors that vibrate harder than the others. Order replacement motors, unscrew them, unplug them, put a replacement motor on, and you should be good to go. If you need more help than that, Remy Tim is the FPV mentor, fpvmentor.com. He can help you beyond that. If it's still not working or if you don't understand what I'm kind of throwing out here. Speaking of Remy Tim, he says, just another reason picking the right hardware for your build is so much more important than learning PID or all the nitty-gritty Betaflight settings. Absolutely, 1,000%. Ramdongo says, a few here know tons more than me. Phoenix FPV tags, CiottiFPVs, parts tunes, blah, blah, blah. So we're good to go there. What else we got going? What's up, Rusty? How are you, brother? Hopefully you're out flying on this awesome Sunday. Steady Eddie says, right on, brother. Just feeling a bit lazy. Full upgrade and quick setup, no prob. No more diffs. Yes, screenshots. I always seem to forget that. Yeah, screenshots are great. Even I do it sometimes because there's some stuff that when I go out and fly, one of the things I love about the full OSD and Betaflight is that when I go out and fly, I can tune the rig almost top to bottom. The full Betaflight OSD gives you almost everything. So in between batteries, I will pretty often hop into the OSD and just make like a little subtle change from a couple of the times when I hammered the throttle when it was in its own wash, it wobbled a little bit too much or whatever. So yeah, I will. My rigs are always in like an ongoing state of tune. So yeah, sometimes when I update, I'll have like a setting in there. I'm like, why the hell do I have so much P gain on this one rig? And there's a reason for it. So yeah, screenshot will kind of grab that. And then yeah, you're good to go. McConnell Studios in the house. What's up, Matt? He says, have you ever saved backups through the preset menu? Went from RC6 to full, and it seemed to work okay. I have not. It just kind of freaks me out. And like, it's so simple to do it using the CLI that I'm kind of like, eh. But they built it in. I'm sure that, I'm not sure because I haven't done it, but I can almost guarantee you that it works totally fine to use the backup function within the preset menu. I'll try it at some point, but for right now, it's just so easy to go into the CLI and just type diff. But yeah, I'm sure it works really well. And there you go. Matt has used it and it seems to work okay. And he's a smart, trustworthy guy. So there you guys go. Mr. Huggy says, same thing, 4.3 has a backup option, as if it's more than... I think it's just a diff. I think their backup option just triggers a CLI command that's just got diff built into it, and then maybe it saves it on a fucking text file, I don't know. But yeah, super, super, super simple to not use that. Vern Kelk says, Vern, make sure you type CiottiFPV. So I can actually see it. I just happened to see your comment. I only use a diff to get modes, OSD, port, and LED. Yeah, that's great. That's a great way to use diff. Diff is how you get a big chunk of text out for your OSD so that you don't have to configure your OSD step by step by step every single time. So if you only use diffs for your OSD, huge thumbs up. But yeah, modes also makes a lot of sense. Ports makes a lot of sense. And I don't use LED, but if I did use addressable LEDs, that would make a lot of sense as well. So yeah, Vern Kelk has a really, really, really good point there. And the way that you do that is you just type diff, highlight it all, drop it into a text document, and you just fucking read through it. Like you'll get to a section that says like set space OSD. That's all of your OSD stuff. You'll get to a section that is pretty obviously your modes. You'll get to a section that's pretty obviously your ports, obviously your LEDs, and then you just delete the rest of the shit, and then you'll have like one nice chunk with your, at the very least with your OSD. I only do it with OSD because it's quick to set modes up, and it's quick to set ports up. And every single rig has a different port setup. Most of my rigs have the same modes set up, but again, it takes me like 30 seconds to set the modes up. So, and like with a tinywhoop, I will slightly change my modes because they don't have black box built in. So yeah, but great point, Vern. Great point. Pixel Porsche says, I asked a question about 10 ago. Pixel Porsche, do you mind copying and pasting it? It's going to be hard for me to find it. It's going to be easy for you to find it. Rusty Signal says, what's up? Shameless says, hello from Portugal, here for a week. So many bandos everywhere, but didn't bring my gear with me. Oh, that's heartbreaking, Shameless. Jesse Garcia says, stupid beginner question. No such thing, brother. I'm out flying, trying to tune 5-inch glide. Flies very good, except for terrible wobbles at full throttle. What's my first step with the PID/filter sliders? Terrible wobbles with full throttle should not be happening unless you've done something drastically weird with the tune. So the answer to your question is to increase TPA, but that you should not be having this problem. You should be looking at a mechanical fix to this problem, because drastically changing your TPA once the mechanical problem is fixed is going to have a really negative impact on the way that rig flies. So as always, I don't recommend that you troubleshoot these things in the tune first. I recommend that you always attack them mechanically first. So first thing, change all your props. Change to a different manufacturer of propeller. Like go to a fresh set of someone else's propellers. Gemfan is the safest bet. Gemfan propellers are just like they're just always the best balance, the most aerodynamic, the most reliable. So if you're not on Gemfan props, snag a set of Gemfan props, borrow a set of Gemfan props, put it on there. That's a really, really, really good first troubleshooting step. Next, look for a banged up motor. Go into the motors tab, spin each motor up individually without props on it, and look for one motor that's vibrating harder than another. So on my, I don't know if you're a patron of mine or not, but hey, this is my full-time job, by the way, friends. Head on over to CiottiFPV.com. There's a bunch of ways you can support me if you like this kind of content. That's how you vote for me to continue to make this content. One of the benefits to joining my Patreon, which is 10 cents a day, it's $3 whole a month, is a whole bunch of tech articles. At the top of my Patreon page, there's a button you can click that says Tech Talk. You click Tech Talk, it's going to have all my tech articles in there. The most valuable tech article, in my opinion, is troubleshooting motor heat. Motor heat occurs because of too many vibrations getting into the gyro. This is also the problem that you're having. At full throttle, too many vibrations are making their way into the gyro, and the PID loop is going, oh, what the fuck do I do? And it's trying to fix the problem, but it's not fixing it at the right point because it's getting too many vibes and it's clipping and all kinds of other shit's going on. And in that tech article, I have the different things that you want to check, which is what I'm going through. It has nothing to do with centrifugal force, Fern. It has everything that I'm telling you here in the same order that I'm telling you right now, but it's all written out. I know I'm giving you a lot. So that's a way you can kind of work through it. Again, it's tech tips on my Patreon, troubleshooting motor heat, and I've ordered it by the most frequently occurring first. So if you do the first thing, chances are you're going to fix it. If that doesn't fix it, you do the second thing, chances are you're going to fix it. As you go farther down, it becomes like less and less likely, but it's still important. So you take that top to bottom, and before you know it, you'll find the problem. So propellers, motors, make sure that your screws are all tight. Make sure no screws are up into the windings of the motors. Check your arms. Make sure none of your arms are starting to delaminate. If you're on an Armatan frame, throw it in the goddamn river. They do this stuff because the carbon fiber orientation is dead wrong. And just in general, the design of Armatan frames is pretty poor. Those are the main things. Make sure that your flight controller is on rubber grommets and there's a little bit of motion, not too much motion. Make sure all the nuts are on top. Make sure none of the wires are pushing into your flight controller. At full throttle, maybe there's a wire that starts to vibrate and it's putting a bunch of bad info into the gyro. That should all be knocked out in that article, step by step. Great question. Athix says, have you tried Orca V1 yet? I have not. Not really interested. I'm perfectly happy with HD3s, to be honest with you. None of the new goggles do anything for me. They don't give me any more information to go off of when I'm flying. And so the money that I would spend on those is much better spent on other stuff. Expander says, you can test motors in turtle mode instead of connecting to Betaflight. Very true. That's how I test to see if I've beat up a motor out in the field. If I get into a really hard crash, I'll pull the propellers off, trigger turtle mode, and just very slowly in each diagonal spin each motor up with a hand on the quad to feel for how many vibrations are. You got to be really gentle though, because turtle mode really accelerates quickly, and there's a big dead spot with turtle mode. And you want to make sure you go in the diagonals so that you only trigger each individual motor. If you go sideways, you'll trigger both left motors, both right motors, both front, both rear. So yeah, go diagonally. Michael D says, are you still doing a birthday stream at 6 o'clock? I don't know where that comes from. There's no, yeah, no. So at 6 o'clock, there's an edit going up that I tried to, I thought that I was scheduling for yesterday at 6 o'clock. But yeah, so that's an edit from 2021 in April of 2021, when it was actually my birthday. My birthday's in April. And actually, I forgot to to put the date in the description of that video. So yeah, another FinFPV edit. Shout out to FinFPV. He's doing video editing. If you want somebody to make you look like a better pilot than you actually are, FinFPV can absolutely do that. He's an incredible editor, great person. Yeah, I am. I feel terrible. He finished up that edit almost 2 months ago, and it just got, his messages just got buried. I downloaded it and I watched it, but then his messages got buried and I just completely forgot to actually upload it. The delay should go away in a second here on OBS. This laptop can't handle when I do anything other than just do OBS, and I'm surfing the internet right now. So it's having a fucking conniption. But I just want to really quickly add the date to that video. Because, yeah, it's not my birthday on June 19th. So we're going to go 4/17/2021. So let's say on monitor zoom. On for my 40th, there we go. On 4/17/2021 for my 40th birthday, in the midst of a divorce, my wife of 15 years, I went out to a new spot all alone and flew hard. All right, cool. Yeah, that makes sense. Cool. There we go. Nobody will read that anyway, but you know, it's all good. I'll still get 80 comments on there saying, "Happy birthday, bro!" It's okay. All right, what do we got going on here? Phoenix says, I see. I'll have a look at the mechanical side. I've flown it for less than 3 hours, and yes, props off. Thanks a lot. You're certainly welcome. Like I said, though, with a little, I think that's a little tiny whoop, right? Anything. I'll say this: anything bigger than tiny whoop size, don't play this game with leaving the props on in the motor tab, because it makes enough thrust and anger to kind of cut you and hurt you. But tiny whoops, yeah, you're fine. You can leave the props on. ImpFPV says backup creates a diff. I knew it. Vern Kelk says bad balanced motor. What's that in reference to, Vern? Pixel Porsche says, can you independently adjust P and I term on yaw in 4.3? I don't think so. I find these two essential to tuning quad feel. Changing I or P term on yaw one number is a huge difference in feel. Wow, I've never noticed that. I change I term by like 30 or 40 points and I can't feel shit. P term I can usually feel a 10 to 20 point change. Yeah, I don't think they've broken yaw out individually. They've only broken out pitch from I don't know. It's in the sliders. It's described in the sliders. FamG says, what's up? What's up, homie? Frank Nicholas dropping links to CiottiFPV.com. Thank you, dude. EE Doc says, what's up? Just got here. Probably here for 30 minutes. Time to read this. Just 4.3. Is it just me, or does Betaflight 4.3 have a slight motor limit compared to 4.2? Seems noticeable on whoops. I have not noticed that at all. Yeah, I have definitely not noticed that. It shouldn't. It should not have that. Phoenix says, can I use the motors tab that checks the gyro stats, set it to low scale, test one motor at a time, and check for uneven graph? Technically, yes, but like, I don't think you need to. You'll feel it in your hand, and I don't trust that graph, because like, what if the rig kind of I don't know. You probably could, but you'll be able to feel it just touching the rig. You'll also be able to hear it. You can hear when the motors are out of bounds. Jesse says, thanks, I appreciate the info. Didn't notice the tech article section page. Check it out. Very cool. You're certainly welcome, Jesse. Shameless says, I will be back here. Sounds good, brother. Michael D says, if you shop Maker Fire, they have the Mobeetle 6 with the flight controller with copper wire ELRS in stock. Yeah, I think Banggood might also have it in stock, but their shipping times are so long. Usually the deal is like they'll get this stuff in stock. Their shipping times are so long, though, that if you order it from them, by the time you get it, the American shops will have gotten it in, and they ship like a day or two. So, and then the problem is you can't really, I mean, you can return it, but it's a nightmare because you got to ship overseas and they don't speak English, and it's just not worth it. I don't order from overseas anymore. It's more hassle than it's worth. But I am pretty lazy when it comes to that shit. So, but yeah. Pixel Persia says, continued from yaw question, I feel like you got to get your pitch and roll really dialed to your rates, then hyper adjust yaw to get it extra smooth. You're always yawing with freestyle. I don't disagree with you. I just can't tell the difference. I've never been able to. That's awesome that you can, though. I'm very, very jealous of that, actually. Phoenix FPV says, yeah, it vibrates a fair bit when I hold it and spin up the motors. If there's one or two motors that are worse than the others, just replace those. If the whole thing vibrates like hell, you might need to replace all four of the motors. I don't know how much you've crashed it. But yeah, it should be fairly smooth, Phoenix. All right, we got a couple of minutes. Let's fly a couple of tinywhoop batteries, and then I gotta wrap this up because it is house. We are doing house things today, and Sage just loaded up his car, and he's gonna drive over to the house with a bunch of stuff with me, and yeah, be a good night sanding and spackling and all kinds of other shit. But I did promise some tinywhoop batteries, and there is a new obstacle here. So hopefully, yeah, the delay has gone to hell. So in theory, this should be, hey, there we go. Cool. So that's going. Let's fly the best first, and then we'll gradually get worse. So we're going to fly the Mobula 6 ELRS first with the 0702 30,000 kV motors. This is with the good antenna, so this is going to be nice, crystal clear video, tons of power. Pretty sort of laid back tune, if I'm honest. Let's actually push the tune on this rig a little tiny bit. Hang on. This rig flies so good that I haven't really pushed the tune at all. But no reason not to. So that's interesting. As soon as I plug the quad in, the external VTX thing shit the bed, I just noticed. So I guess that's why. All right, so we're gonna go to PID tuning. In theory, I have it on the sliders. Jesus, this laptop is just really struggling. I do have it on the sliders. Oh, and I do have some... I got the PIDs cranked up on this. Okay, we're good. DGAN up at 1.1, DMAX at 1.3. Well, I got a bunch of DMAX. Yeah, okay, we fine. We'd have to 1.6, though. We'll chase the dragon a little bit. Throttle boost, dynamic idle, 25. It's all looking fine. Can I cut a little bit of filtering out? 1.2. Nah, this is a nice safe setup. I don't know why the hell. I got a bunch of rigs where this is at 200. I'm gonna bring that. That's actually gonna add filtering a little bit there. Q factor. I could probably bring this down. Oops, nope. Probably bring this max frequency down to 900. That'll save a little bit of delay. All right, we fine. No real. Those changes aren't enough to really notice. I mean, maybe the master multiplier up a little bit might have made a little difference, but I doubt it. All right, power cycling the USB hub that the VRX, not VTX, is on. Let's see if it came back to life. Hey, it did. All right. Best tiny whoop in all the land first, and then we will gradually get shittier. All right. And here we go. Ready for the new obstacle, friends? You ready? Hope you're ready. This battery's sagged all the way down to 4.25 already. Oh, no, come on. There it is. Ooh! Oh, God. Oh, boy. So this rig does have crash prevention on. Ooh. Oh, God. Oh, boy. Let's see if we can get this out of the way first. What's going on with the... Why is there so much up tilt? Hold on. There's like 1 billion degrees of up tilt on this rig right now. Ouch. Oh, yeah. That's way too much. Actually... Not that much. Why can I... Usually I can see a little bit more of the ducts in the bottom. Whatever. There was crash prevention. So let's just get this out of the way. Gotta get the power loop through like that. That's what we need. Let's just get that out of the way. All ready? Through the bottom, power loop through the top. Oh, crash prevention. Come on. Oh, almost. I got a Band-Aid on my thumb and it's stuck to the... Look at it. Oh, God. Come on now. Is that crash prevention? Help me land there? Come on, let's get it. Ah! Ah! Come on. Come on. Come on. You got this. Well, buddy. Alright, we'll try a couple more times, then we'll give up. Oh, that was almost it. Almost it. That was up over top. Fuck it. Oh, right into the stairs. Uh-oh. Did it throw a propeller? I think it threw a propeller. Nope, it's good. That was weird. What the hell was going on with it? Okay. Man. Why are you acting so angry, little guy? Alright, here we go. Let's get into it. Let's get into it. Oh, I thought I could cheat it. There we go. If we get the power loop going from this side. Let's not hit the ceiling. Yeah, this Band-Aid's actually really bothering me. This is a thicker, wider Band-Aid than normal. And it is really, like, sticking on this thumbstick. Here. Try to hold the transmitter a little different. There we go. A little ugly. Ah! Come on. Gotta get this clean. Ah! Oh boy. Where the hell am I? Am I in a box with donuts? This thing's gonna be covered in donuts, isn't it? I'm in a box with donuts. I am. Are there any donuts for me? Man, I feel like there's so much up... this feels really awkward right now. It feels like there's a shitload of up tilt. Any donuts for Aaron? No? All right. Oh, boy. Ah! Not having a great day flying. Let's try the impossible power loop. Hey, by the way, we hit the impossible power loop the other day. Oh, God. That ain't it. That ain't how you hit it. I'm gonna blame this Band-Aid for everything. Try it again. Nope, battery's dead. It's all saggy and angry. Let's see if it smells like donuts. Covered in donuts. No, I'm just kidding. No donuts. We good. Man, yeah, I'm having a this is not flying well today. Robin Duckett says, what are you using for your live feed? It's a little eSheen like ROTG, it's called. You can buy it on Amazon for like 20 bucks. ROTG. I used to have the diversity, but it would flash white when it would switch. So I ended up getting the old school ROTG 1 non-diversity. So now we're going to move over to the Mobula 6 ELRS on the old school Happy Model 0802 25,000 kV motors. So we're gaining quite a bit of weight, but we're also gaining a bunch of motor volume. And this is on the triblade Gemfan rather than the biblade Gemfans. You're welcome, Robin. Camera looks a lot more vibrant on this one, which is interesting. Because they're the exact same camera and they're non-adjustable cameras. Oh boy. So, throttle point is much lower, which is why I keep crashing into stuff. The RSSI is going to flash like crazy because there is no ceramic antenna on this thing. But luckily, we have... Come on, man. My finger's fucking stuck. I have to take this Band-Aid off. I cannot fly like this. It's literally sticking to the top of the thumbstick, so like it's pulling the... It's like pulling the thumbstick down and shit. All right. What? Why? What is happening? Why did it just start spinning like a top? Here we go. So much lower cruising throttle. Look at that, 50%. Jesus. So that means the throttle scale is kind of wrong on this. Look at 46. Hold on, let me fix the throttle scale. Might be a reason why this thing's flying so weird. So there's 30 expo and the throttle mid is 41. Yeah, let's go up to 48. That should feel a lot better. If you're going to use... Oh, come on now. There it goes. If you're going to use throttle expo, you have to make sure that it's set up, that the midpoint is set up properly. There we go. Ah! I almost went into the donuts again. Oh, God. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Don't crash into the goddamn TV. Oh, that was sick looking. Ah. This battery is sagging like crazy. It has been charged overnight though. Come on. I really want that. I really want that power loop. I gotta be honest. I want it bad. Get out of there. Come on. Oh. Oh, I can't believe I hit that. No, yay. Woo, shit. This battery's fucking shot, yo. That battery did not last very long at all. 2 minutes and 12? Jesus. And this is one of the tattoos. Michael D says, it is tilted up more. You could see a little bit of the ducts when you checked it earlier. I thought so, right? Where's this one at? This one just has a little bit of the ducts. Strange. All right. So there's the 0802 25,000 kV rig. We're just gonna keep trucking through these rigs. I gotta, yeah, we gotta get over to the house and get stuff done. Next up is the newbie drone rig on the 0802 25,000 kV. I'm sorry, 30,000 kV motors. This is oh god, excuse me. This is the heaviest rig, also the most powerful Gemfan triblades. And this has the Caddx ant camera. I think I need to change the settings on the ant camera though, because it does not look very good. Hold on, let me. Do I have a? I think I have one of those remotes handy. We can make those changes now, but yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. All right, hold on. Let me make these camera changes real quick because it's just not fair to have this camera look like ass like this. This is everybody says that this is the best of the tinywhoop cameras. It's also a lot heavier of a camera. Not a lot heavier, but it is heavier. So to have the camera adjusted wrong is just kind of stupid. You know what I mean? So the big problem I have with it is the lack of contrast. So let's go into image enhance, and we're going to take the contrast off of auto, put it to manual, and we're going to increase it. Let's put it up to 15. It also looks not very sharp. So let's increase the sharpening a little bit. Saturation also maybe needs a little bit of love. Put that up to 20. Return. Day night auto white. What the hell is AE? Brightness exposure. I don't know what BLC means. Move the brightness up a little bit. It is a little bit dark. Auto white balance, we'll leave that on. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to move the auto white balance to, well, the options suck. Day, night, hopefully it's on color. Yeah, good. Image enhanced video setting, NTSC. Okay, that's fine. I don't know what CVBS is. This camera still doesn't look very good. I gotta be honest. I don't know what the fuss is all about. I don't know why so many people are like freaking out about this camera, but I don't know. I changed the things that I guess, wow, now it's really noisy though. That's weird. This rig has a very high idle. What's that about? Oh, Jesus, this camera looks horrible now. What the hell? My God, this rig has some fucking power. Yep. Whoa, what was that? What the hell did I hit? The ceiling? Oh, fuck, that was the railing. It's the hardest part about that impossible power loop is getting over the railing. Yo, this camera looks horrible now. Oh, that was almost it. Why does this camera look so bad? Yo, that Runcam Nano is the way to go. Jesus, this is almost not flyable. What is the deal with this shit? Why do you guys like the Caddx Ant? This thing looks disgusting. It's incredibly noisy. What is going on with that? Hold on, let me use a Caddx remote control. It'll work a lot better. Am I missing something with this camera? Is it not good for indoor use? A lot of the toothpick guys like this camera. EEDoc thinks it's the Newbie Drone VTX that's making the camera look horrible. That's interesting. Auto exposure. Well, you know, I turned the auto exposure up. What the fuck is wrong with it? Alright, so this remote is broken. Really? Caddx, you can't even make a fucking remote that works? Come on! This fucking piece of shit away. Move back to the Foxeer remote. Alright, here we go. Yeah, potentially turning up the brightness is what made it look worse. What the hell's BLC? Doesn't seem to change a goddamn thing. That's weird. Yeah, we'll leave that alone. Well, you know, I guess I'll move it back to manual. I'm sorry, auto, rather. It was better on auto because it's going to kind of move around. Nah, I'm going to take the sharpness off of auto. It does not look good in auto. Yeah, I'd rather have it. So that over sharpening is what's making the noise a little bit more obvious. So I like it there. That's not making the noise that much more obvious. So we'll leave it manual there. Saturation, auto versus manual. Looks okay on manual. Contrast, manual, auto, manual, auto. I like it on... I like it on manual, but I'm going to turn it down a little bit. Turn it down to 12. Oh, now it doesn't make a difference. God damn it. What the hell's 3DNR? What's that mean? Oh, noise reduction. Oh, that's kind of cool. Yeah, I want the noise reduction on. Because that's a lot of the junk, but I probably don't need it all the way up at 20, so let's leave it at 15. And then this noise reduction here. I move these up to their max value so that I can see the difference. Not much of a difference there. We'll leave it on auto. Turn. All right, let's try that. It's not going to be much better. But maybe it'll be a little better. Nah, it's so washed out. So, I forget who just said that, but oh god, is that like a known thing? Like the VTX and the newbie drone boards makes cameras look less contrasty? That's wild. That like I've never noticed that. Oh god. I mean, and I also don't really understand how that could be. Because, like, a VTX just sort of takes the... Fuck. It just... Yeah, it doesn't do any image processing. It just takes the signal in and then spits it out. But, I mean, who the hell knows? So from like a freestyle standpoint, I was wondering about like, will the extra weight of these heavyweight tinywhoops help with like sort of chuckability, basically, like we talk about with 5-inch freestyle rigs? I've not found that to be the case in any situation. The heavier tinywhoops are like. The lighter weight tinywhoops have just plenty of backlight compensation. Very cool. They have plenty of throw. There's really no advantage to the lighter weight tinywhoops. Let's put another battery through this because all I did was kind of fuck around with the camera that entire battery. We're gonna wrap this up pretty soon though. All right, here we go. I don't know. Runcam Nanos for me for life. I think very lightweight. They look great. You don't have to screw with any settings because you can't. Oh god, how do I keep hitting the ceiling? What did I hit that time? Table? Oh god. Yeah, see, like, the extra weight, it just makes it slide all over the goddamn place. And, like, it... Oh, no, don't do this to me. No. No. God damn it, Larry. I'll be back again. That donut there is for me. That's my donut. All right, here we go. Oh, that could have been it. That could have been it. Oh, God. Huckleberry, I'm still waiting for why you were shaking your head before. Tell us. Although, I will admit, the other problem with this rig is that these Betaflight rates are not right. There's something wrong with the actual rates in Betaflight's hexes. I'm sorry, not Betaflight. Newbie Drone's hexes. Oh man, it does those. The extra power really lets it do those power loops like a son of a bitch. Damn it. Woo! It's hard to get. I really want that power loop to be like a part of a wall ride, but it's hard. It's hard to link those two together. It's hard to smoothly get out of the wall ride and into the power loop. Let's try it again now. Nope. This thing chews through batteries too. I want to say it's part. I don't know. My guess is that it's part Acro-B AIO related, and part these are big boy motors with mega RPM, 30,000 kV, and these Gemfan triblades. I'm asking a lot from them. Now we're gonna go back to the Mobula 6 30,000 on proper rates, and it's yeah, totally different. And then we're gonna do 175 battery, and that's that. Actually, no. Let's leave it there. We're gonna do 170, one Mobula 7 battery, and then we'll call it. Because I want to get over to the house and start doing more stuff. Maggie's over there all alone, I think. This is now on FrSky, so I gotta switch over. What's up, demo? Vern Kelk says, I've been swearing at your FPV image for ages just to find I'm in 240p. What would you being in 240? Oh. You're watching my streams in 240. Yeah, that'll do it. Anything says, what version of the Ant do you have? The one that doesn't have the screw holes, the FPV cycle. So this is the Mobula 7 with the T-Motor 0803 22,000s on the Gemfan biblades. Lots of power, but very difficult to fly. Very difficult to fly. Like, see all that speed that it picks up? Like, I don't... Man, it does that really well, though. Like, every once in a while, I'll find, like, one or two things that it does really well, but see that pinball shit? It does that way more often. Jesus. See, like, it's just too heavy for indoor stuff. If you've got, like, a warehouse or something, maybe. But I would still take the lighter weight rigs. Because even in a warehouse, there's going to be tight little spots for you to fly in, and this ain't going to get you in there. See, but I mean, that was pretty cool. I mean, you can do stuff with it, but it's just not, it's not nearly as repeatable as the lightweight rigs. Oh God, I thought I could really see. So you see that I really rolled it over and gave it a big blast of throttle, and it just had too much weight and it slid out and it hit this white thing. Any of the other rigs would have dug in and went ripping down that hallway. Whoa. Ooh, oh. That was just me flying like shit. Oh. I also, like, I don't know, this freaks me out because it's a lot of weight. I get worried flying these around my apartment because I have like some stuff that I don't want to knock over and break. You know, Maggie's got kids, so she's got. I mean, this place is all torn apart anyway, but she's got kids, so she's got a lot less like breakable stuff just kind of sitting out. Even though the kids are grown, it's still, you know, like it's just a thing that happens. Oh no, did it break? Now we're good. I have not gotten that power loop yet. I'm certainly not going to get it with this rig. I would love to get that impossible power loop. But go the other way with it. The full impossibility, and I don't think this is going to happen, but the full impossibility is to throw it up over here and to exit like that, so that technically that's then a power loop. I don't know what it actually is that I did the other 2 times, but it's pretty close to being a power loop. Okay, what was that? Oh boy. Oh, that's in the railing. Oh no. What's happening? Where am I? Whoa, I'm in a box. I'm in a box maze. Come on, man! Stop sliding around. Oh god, it's so... See, this is... I'm in like a tight area, and I can't... There we go. Jesus. Oh, for fuck's sake. I really wanted the 75 thing to work, man. I love the idea of it. Well, that battery's dead anyway. I love the idea of it having like a bigger prop surface area to have a bigger parachute. But the weight goes up too much. And yeah. So there you go, friends. There's 4 different tinywhoops compared. Yeah. The Mobula 6 ELRS on the 0702s is my favorite for sure. But these other ones are still fun. Any one of these new tinywhoops outperform any of the old school ones. So kind of can't go wrong with any of these. And yeah, I mean, if you want something to fly outside, which I don't think you should do with a tinywhoop, Mobula 7 ELRS is the one. But, you know, keep in mind, right tool for the right job. And tinywhoop is a tool for flying inside. Toothpicks are tools for flying outside, in my opinion. You can tell me I'm an idiot. It's fine. I don't disagree with you. See you guys tomorrow night at 10 o'clock. I'll be home. It is not a giveaway stream tomorrow night. But lots of other good knowledge coming at you, I promise, as always. Love you guys. Be good. Hold on. Let me... EEDoc says you should put pitch in OSD so you can easily see your camera angle. Pitch is in all of my OSDs. It's on the top right corner. I never thought to look at it to lock in the camera angle though. Actually, it doesn't work. It doesn't work for camera angle because the OSD pitch is the AIO pitch, not the camera pitch. So it doesn't really work for figuring out your camera angle, unfortunately. Let me get caught up on chat a little bit before I go. Robin Duckett says, thank you, sir. EEDoc says, is it the camera that doesn't look or is the crappy newbie during VTX? Frank says, a VTX takes the video in, overlays white black's text, spits it out. That is the video processing and can affect the image quality. So there, I was wrong. Athix says, what version of the anti you have? Got that. Demo saying, hey. Summer Classes. Phoenix says, thanks for the points in the right direction. Thanks all. You're certainly welcome, my man. And look at that. We're caught up, I think. Yeah. Caught up. Good to go. See you guys tomorrow night, 10 o'clock. Be good. Yeah, birthday rip video coming up in 40 minutes from last year, April of last year. Here comes some more Rip Squeak. stiff. This is a front. Is this the front-facing camera? Yeah, here's the regular old front-facing Insta360 Go 2 on the Ripsqueak. Be good friends. I love every single one of you. I'll see you tomorrow night at 10 o'clock Eastern. Come on. Oh, wait, no. I want to go to Epidemic Sound. Oh, fuck you. Now I gotta undo this. What the Come on, man. Come on, man. Why? Why are you doing this to me? Jesus. Dude. Wow, this laptop. I fucking hate computers. There is no. If I could take every computer on Earth and put them in one big pile, I would burn them all back to 1901. All right, whatever. Love you guys. See you tomorrow night.
Money world.